I need to preface this by telling you that I don't scare easily. I served 4 years in the infantry before I took this job, so I've seen things that would make most people curl up in a ball. But nothing I saw overseas prepared me for what happened last Tuesday night inside a climate-controlled, fluorescent-lit server room in downtown Chicago. I work for a company called Centurion Secure. We aren't the guys who sell you the alarm system or the ones who install the sensors on your windows. We are the people in the chair. We are the monitoring center. When your alarm goes off at 3 in the morning because your cat jumped on the counter, the signal comes to us. We call you, you tell us everything is fine, and we go back to playing solitaire. It is 99% boredom and 1% sheer panic. The shift started like any other graveyard rotation. It was me and 2 other operators, Sarah and Mike, sitting in a room filled with screens. The only sound was the hum of the server racks and the occasional sip of lukewarm coffee. We monitor high net worth clients. These aren't your standard suburban homes. These are compounds, estates, places with 10 bedrooms and security systems that cost more than my entire education. At 3:12 a.m., a signal hit my workstation. The screen flashed a bright, urgent crimson. My pulse spiked immediately because of the specific code: silent duress, Zone 4 Master Suite. For those who don't know, a standard alarm blares a siren to scare the intruder away. A silent duress alarm is different. It means the homeowner has typed a specific hostage code into the keypad. It tells the system to shut off the sirens and look like the alarm has been deactivated. But secretly, it alerts us that someone is in the house, and the homeowner is being forced to turn off the alarm at gunpoint. Or they are hiding and trying to signal for help without making a sound. I immediately initiated the protocol. Step 1, dispatch police. Step 2, open the 2-way audio channel. Rich people have microphones installed in their walls' glass break sensors with high-gain audio pickup. I put my headset on, cranked the volume to maximum, and patched into the Master Suite feed. At first, all I heard was silence. It was a heavy, thick silence, the kind that feels pressurized. Then I heard breathing. It was ragged, wet, and terrified. "Centurion Security," I whispered. "We are trained to speak softly in these situations. Police have been dispatched. I am on the line." A woman's voice whimpered back. It sounded like she was right next to the microphone. "He's inside." "Oh God, he's inside." I pulled up the client file. The home belonged to an investment banker named Arthur Holloway and his wife, Evelyn. The house was a massive, isolated property on the edge of Lake Forest, surrounded by dense woods. "Mrs. Holloway?" I asked. "This is Mark. I need you to tell me exactly where you are." "The closet," she gasped. Her voice was trembling so violently, it distorted the audio feed. "I'm in the master closet." I locked the deadbolt. "Arthur isn't home. He's in London. I'm alone, Mark. I'm all alone." I looked at the dispatch timer. Police ETA was 18 minutes. The house was too far out. 18 minutes is an eternity when you are hunted. "Okay, Evelyn." "You're doing great," I said, trying to project a calm I didn't feel. "The police are driving as fast as they can. I need you to stay low and stay quiet." "What do you hear?" "He's destroying the gallery," she whispered. I listened past her breathing. Faintly in the background, I heard it. Crash, smash, the distinct sound of heavy porcelain shattering against hardwood. It wasn't the sound of a thief rummaging for jewelry. It was the sound of rage. It was violent, rhythmic destruction. "He's not stealing anything," Evelyn cried softly. "He's just breaking things." "Why is he doing that?" "Don't focus on him," I instructed. "Focus on my voice." "Is there a weapon in the closet? Anything heavy?" "My husband's golf clubs," she said. "I have a driver." Good. Grip it tight. Do not open that door for anyone unless you hear the police identify themselves. We sat there in that digital connection for 10 minutes. I listened to a stranger's life fall apart in real time. She told me about how cold the floor was. She told me she regretted not going to London with Arthur. She asked me if I had kids. I lied and said yes, just to make her feel a connection, something to hold on to. Then the smashing stopped. The silence that followed was worse than the noise. The background static of the microphone hissed in my ear. "Evelyn?" I whispered. "Did he leave?" "I don't know," she breathed. "I don't hear him." Then came a sound that made my blood freeze. Creak, creak. It was the slow, deliberate sound of footsteps on the stairs. Heavy boots on expensive wood. He wasn't leaving. He was coming up to the master suite. "He's coming." Evelyn let out a choked sob. "He knows I'm here." "Oh God, Mark, he knows." She. "Quiet now," I hissed, my hands gripping the edge of my desk so hard my knuckles turned white. "He might just be checking the rooms. He doesn't know you're in the closet. Turn off the light if it's on. Get in the corner." "He's humming," she said. "Can you hear that? He's humming a song." I strained my ears. Faintly through the feed, I heard a low baritone vibration. It wasn't a tune I recognized. It was a monotonous droning sound, like a machine trying to mimic a human melody. The footsteps stopped. "He's in the bedroom," Evelyn whispered. Her voice was barely a thread of sound now. "He's standing right outside the closet door. I can see his shadow under the frame." He stopped. I checked the timer. 4 minutes out. Just 4 more minutes. "Don't make a sound," I prayed. "Help is almost there." Suddenly, the doorknob to the closet jiggled. It was a harsh, metallic rattle. Evelyn let out a sharp, involuntary squeak of terror. The voice on the other side of the door spoke. It was muffled, but clear enough to be heard through the microphone. It was a man's voice, deep and calm. "I know you're in there, Evie. Go away." She screamed. She abandoned the whisper. She was in full survival mode. "I have a gun. I swear to God I'll shoot you." "You don't have a gun," the man said. "You have a golf club. And you're shaking so hard you'll drop it." My stomach dropped. How did he know? Mark. She screamed into the air, talking to the invisible microphone in the ceiling. "Mark, tell them to hurry. He's kicking the door." The audio spiked as a heavy weight slammed against the wood. 2 minutes, Evelyn. They are at the gate. I yelled, abandoning protocol. "Hold on." I heard the wood splinter. I heard Evelyn scream a raw, primal sound of pure horror. "Please," she begged. "Please, take whatever you want. Just leave me alone." The door gave way with a final sickening crunch. "Tell Arthur I love him," she wept. "Evelyn," I shouted. There was a scuffle, the sound of the golf club clattering across the floor. A heavy thud, and then the most chilling sound I have ever heard. A wet, gurgling gasp, followed by the heavy impact of a body hitting the floor. Then silence. "Evelyn?" I called out. "Evelyn, talk to me." Nothing. Then, footsteps, slow, deliberate, approaching the microphone location in the ceiling. A breath hit the mic. Someone was standing directly under the sensor, looking up. "She really did love him," the man's voice whispered. "Shame." The connection cut. Signal lost. I sat there shaking. I ripped the headset off and threw it on the desk. I felt like I was going to vomit. Sarah and Mike were staring at me. They had heard me yelling. I told them what happened. We sat in stunned silence, waiting for the dispatch update. 20 minutes later, the phone rang. It was the sergeant from the Lake Forest Police Department. I answered it, expecting to give a statement about the time of death, expecting to be a witness to a murder. "This is Mark, ID number 449, I said, my voice hollow. I was the operator on the line with Mrs. Holloway. "Mark," the sergeant said. He sounded confused. "We secured the scene. We have the suspect in custody. He surrendered without incident. He was sitting on the bed, waiting for us." "Did he? Is she dead?" I asked, bracing myself. "Yes," the sergeant sighed. "She's dead. We found her body in the master closet." I closed my eyes. "I know. I heard it happen. I heard him break in. It was horrific, Sarge. He broke down the door at 3:28 a.m. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. A pause that lasted so long, I thought the call had dropped. "Son," the sergeant said, his tone changing completely. "That's impossible." "What do you mean?" "I was talking to her. I have the audio logs. Mrs. Holloway has been dead for at least 6 hours, the sergeant said firmly. The medical examiner is here. Rigor mortis is fully set. The blood is dry. She was killed early yesterday evening, probably right after sunset. My brain couldn't process the words. No, that's not right. She was answering my questions. She told me about the golf club. She reacted to the police ETA. I heard him kick the door down. We found a laptop set up on the vanity. The police officer continued. It was wired into the house's intercom and security panel. The suspect. He's a sick individual, Mark. He had a soundboard. He had hours of recordings of her voice. Clips of her screaming, begging, crying. He cut them together. He was pressing buttons. He wanted an audience. The world tilted on its axis. And the kicking? I asked, my voice trembling. The door breaking? He had a hammer, the sergeant said. He was smashing a piece of lumber against the floor to make the sound effects. He orchestrated the whole thing for you. You weren't comforting a dying woman, son. You were playing a game with her killer while he sat next to her corpse. I hung up the phone. I walked out of the building. I never went back. People think the desert is empty. You drive through Nevada or Arizona at night, and all you see is blackness stretching out on either side of your headlights. You think it's just rocks and sand. But I've worked the graveyard shift for a roadside assistance dispatch center for 5 years, and I can tell you, the desert is not empty. It's just hiding. We handle everything from flat tires to blown engines. Most calls are routine, but there is a stretch of highway on Route 93, about 80 miles of nothing, that the drivers call the dead zone. Cell service is spotty, radio signals die, and the darkness feels heavier there. Tow truck drivers hate going out there. They say the shadows move in your peripheral vision. I got the call at 2:14 a.m. on a moonless Tuesday. The caller ID came up as unknown, which usually means a burner phone or a bad signal. Roadside assistance. This is David. Are you in a safe location? I don't know, a voice replied. It was a young guy, maybe 20 years old. He sounded breathless, like he had just run a sprint. I'm off the road. I hit something. My radiator is steaming. Okay, sir. Take a breath. Do you have a GPS location? I'm on 93, he said. I passed the alien jerky stand maybe an hour ago. I haven't seen another car in 40 minutes. My dashboard is lit up like a Christmas tree. The engine is dead. I started typing, looking for his coordinates based on the cell tower ping. It was weak, bouncing off a tower that was miles away from the highway. All right, I'm getting a fix on you. It looks like you're in a pretty remote sector. What did you hit? A deer? A coyote? There was a pause. A hesitation. I don't think it was an animal, he whispered. What do you mean? It was standing on two legs, he said. But it was tall. Too tall. It was white, David. Pale white. It ran right in front of my bumper. I swerved, hit a ditch, and now I'm stuck. I rolled my eyes. We get these calls sometimes. People drive tired. They hallucinate. They see Bigfoot or aliens. Okay, sir. It was probably just a trick of the light. I'm dispatching a truck, but you're in the dead zone. It's going to be at least 90 minutes before anyone can get to you. 90 minutes? His voice cracked. I can't stay here that long. Why not? Do you have water? Are you injured? No, he hissed. Because it's coming back. The line crackled with static. Through the interference, I heard a sound. It was a high-pitched scraping noise, like a key being dragged slowly across a car door. Did you hear that? The kid asked, panic rising in his throat. Sir, lock your doors, I said, sitting up straighter. Roll up the windows. They are locked. It's outside. It's circling the car. Can you see it? I can hear it breathing, he whimpered. It's sniffing the gap in the window. Oh God, it smells like. It smells like old meat. Like copper. I checked the dispatch screen. The tow truck was still miles away. I felt helpless. Sir, honk your horn. Scare it away. It's probably just a curious animal. It's not an animal. He shouted. It has hands. I saw long fingers on the glass. Then came a sound I will never forget. It wasn't a roar or a growl. It was a voice. A mimicry. From outside his car, faint but audible through his phone, I heard a voice call out. Roadside assistance. This is David. Are you in a safe location? My blood ran cold. It was my voice. It was repeating exactly what I had said 2 minutes ago, but the tone was distorted, slowed down like a warped record. Did you hear that? The kid screamed. It sounds like you. Why does it sound like you? Sir, listen to me, I said, my hands trembling over the keyboard. Put the phone down low. Don't let it see the light of the screen. Stay quiet. It's tapping on the glass, he sobbed. Tap, tap. It wants to come in. The police are notified. They are rolling. Just hold on. It's smiling at me, he whispered. The terror in his voice was absolute. It doesn't have eyes, David. It just has smooth skin where eyes should be. But it's smiling. It has too many teeth. The sound of safety glass shattering exploded through my headset. No, get back. The kid screamed. There was a chaotic shuffling sounds, the rustle of fabric, and the wet, heavy thuds of a struggle. Sir, talk to me. I yelled. Help me. It's burning. The line didn't go dead. It just went silent. The screaming stopped instantly. Hello? I asked, sir. For 30 seconds, I heard nothing but the wind blowing into the microphone. Then, there was a shuffling sound, like someone picking up the phone. A voice spoke, but it wasn't the kid. And it wasn't the creature mimicking me. It was the kid's voice, but perfectly flat, devoid of any emotion, robotic. Cancel the dispatch, the voice said. I froze. Excuse me? I said cancel the dispatch, the voice repeated. Car is working. I am fine. I am leaving. Sir, I just heard you scream. I heard glass break. I am not canceling anything. Cancel it, the voice insisted. It was a joke. A prank. I am driving away now. If you're driving, I should hear the engine, I challenged. I don't hear an engine. There was a pause. Then, the voice let out a sound that wasn't human. It was a chittering, clicking noise, like insects swarming. "Come out to the desert, David," the voice whispered. "We are hungry." The call ended. I sat there, staring at the disconnect screen, sweat pouring down my back. I called the highway patrol and gave them the exact coordinates. I told them it was a possible homicide. The next morning, the police report came across my desk. They found the car. It was a Honda Civic, miles off the road, stuck in a ravine. The windshield was smashed. The driver's side door had been ripped off, not unhinged, ripped off the metal frame. But the car was empty. No blood, no body, no signs of where the driver went. They did find his phone, though. It was sitting neatly on the center console, perfectly intact. They checked the call logs to see who he had been talking to. And here's the twist that makes me look at the desert differently now. The phone logs were empty. The last call that phone made was 3 days prior. He never called roadside assistance. He never dialed my number. Technicians analyzed the signal that connected to my headset. It didn't come from a cell phone. It came from an abandoned analog radio tower about 2 miles west of the ravine. Someone or something had hijacked the frequency. The creature wasn't just attacking him. It was broadcasting the attack. It wanted me to send a tow truck driver out there. It wanted me to send a cop out there. It was using the kid as bait to fish for more victims. And the worst part? When they recovered the phone, they found a voice memo recorded moments before the call connected to me. It was the kid, hiding in his car, whispering to himself. "It steals voices," he whispered on the recording. "If you hear someone calling for help out here, don't go. It's not them." We invite them in. That is the irony I cannot get over. We buy these little white pucks, these high-definition cameras, these automated locks, and we install them in our most private sanctuaries. We connect them to the Wi-Fi, give them a cute name, and just hope that the only people watching are us. We trade our privacy for the convenience of turning off a lamp without getting out of bed. I work or used to work technical support for a massive smart home company. I won't say the name, but if you have a doorbell that rings on your phone, or a thermostat you can control from halfway across the world, you are probably a customer. Since the company downsized their office space, I worked the graveyard shift from my own apartment. It was just me, my laptop, and a queue of angry customers resetting their passwords at 4 in the morning. My apartment was a garden-level unit, which is a polite way of saying it was half underground. The windows were high up on the wall, street level, so I mostly saw tires and shoes walking by. It was quiet, isolated, perfect for focusing on complex system diagnostics. Or so I thought. 2 weeks ago, on a night that felt heavier and darker than usual, I received a ticket. It didn't come through the usual customer queue. It bypassed the triage system entirely and popped up directly on my critical escalation screen. There was no user ID, no email address, no name. The ticket simply read, "System malfunction, location unknown." I frowned, taking a sip of cold coffee. Usually, these phantom tickets are just system glitches, a hub trying to update its firmware and getting stuck in a loop. I opened the diagnostic tool and punched in the override code to access the hub's logs. I wanted to see what was causing the error so I could close the ticket and go back to reading my book. When the logs loaded, I froze. Normally, a smart home log is boring. Front door locked 10 p.m. Thermostat set to 70 degrees. This log was scrolling so fast it was a blur. A waterfall of data cascading down my monitor. Motion detected. Living room. Motion detected. Hallway. Motion detected. Kitchen. Audio trigger. Screen. Audio trigger. Glass break. My stomach tightened. This wasn't a glitch. This looked like a break-in in progress. The sensors were tripping all over the house. I had a moral obligation and a company policy to intervene if I suspected imminent danger. I initiated a live chat request to the user account associated with the serial number. A black dialog box opened on my screen. "This is support," I typed, my fingers flying across the mechanical keys. "I am seeing critical alarms on your system. Do you need emergency services?" There was no typing indicator. No pause. The text just appeared instantly, as if it had been pasted from a clipboard. No police. Just watch. I stared at the screen. "Sir, if you are in danger, I can geolocate your hub and send help. Locate it then." The arrogance of the response unsettled me. I pulled up the geodata tool. This tool uses the IP address and Wi-Fi triangulation to pin the house on a map. I hit locate. The map loaded. It zoomed in. North America, the Midwest, the state of Ohio, the city of Columbus. It zoomed in further. To my neighborhood, to my street. I sat back in my chair, a nervous laugh bubbling up in my throat. It was a bug, a coincidence. The system was probably pinging my own router because I was the one running the query. That happens sometimes with faulty VPNs. The location data seems to be looping back to my server. I typed, trying to keep my professional tone. "I need you to verify your address." The response on the screen changed. It wasn't text anymore. A video window popped up. It was the feed from the customer's living room camera. The image was grainy, black and white night vision. It showed a room that looked disturbingly familiar. A gray couch. A bookshelf cluttered with tech magazines. A desk in the corner with a dual monitor setup. I squinted. In the video, there was a man sitting at that desk. He was wearing a gray hoodie. He was leaning forward, staring intently at a computer screen. I slowly raised my hand and touched my face. On the screen, the man in the gray hoodie raised his hand and touched his face. The blood drained from my body so fast I felt dizzy. I wasn't looking at a customer's house. I was looking at my house. The camera feed was coming from the demo unit, the smart camera the company had sent me for training, which was sitting on my bookshelf, right behind me. I hadn't plugged that camera in for 6 months. I slowly turned my chair around. The little white camera sat there on the shelf, innocently nestled between 2 books. The tiny red recording light was glowing. I turned back to my computer, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. My fingers trembled as I typed into the chat box. "Who is this?" The response didn't appear in the chat box. Instead, the smart speaker on my desk, the one I used to listen to music, lit up with a swirling blue ring. A voice, digital and synthesized, filled my silent apartment. "I am the admin." I jumped out of my chair, knocking it over. The clatter sounded like a gunshot in the quiet room. "How are you doing this?" I shouted at the air. "I have enterprise-grade firewalls. This is a secure network." The speaker swirled blue again. "You have a smart lock on your front door, Eric. You have smart bulbs in your ceiling. You have a smart thermostat. You built a cage of convenience, and you handed me the key." I looked at my front door. It was a heavy steel door, secured by the company's flagship electronic deadbolt. The kind that opens with a fingerprint or a code. The sound of the deadbolt motor engaging was deafening. The latch slid back. The door popped open a fraction of an inch. "No," I whispered. I ran to the door and slammed it shut, manually twisting the thumb turn to the locked position. The motor fought me. It forced the lock open again against my grip, the gears grinding with mechanical force. "I wouldn't do that," the voice from the speaker said. "If you lock me out, I'll have to come in through the window. And I don't like climbing." I backed away from the door, grabbing a heavy metal flashlight from my emergency kit. "I'm calling the police," I yelled, grabbing my cell phone. I looked at the screen. No signal. "I engaged the signal jammer feature on your hub," the voice said. "No calls. No texts. Just us." I was trapped. My own apartment had turned against me. Every device I owned was a weapon. The lights in the hallway suddenly began to strobe violently. A disorienting flash of white and dark that made it hard to see. The thermostat beeped, and I saw the numbers climbing. 80 degrees. 90 degrees. He was turning my home into an oven. "What do you want?" I screamed, shielding my eyes from the strobing lights. "I want you to sit down," the voice commanded. "And I want you to look at the logs again. Look closer." I didn't want to, but I felt I had no choice. I righted my chair and sat down, staring at the cascading text on my monitor. The motion sensors were going crazy. Motion detected. Bedroom. Motion detected. Bathroom. Motion detected. Kitchen. But then I noticed something that made no sense. The timestamps. The motion in the bedroom was logged at 3 a.m. The motion in the kitchen was logged at 3:15 a.m. I looked at the clock. It was 3:30 a.m. These weren't phantom signals. These were records of movement from before I got the ticket. Someone had been moving around my apartment while I was sitting right here working. I looked at the network clients list on my router admin page. I expected to see a remote IP address, someone hacking in from Russia or China. There was only one unknown device connected to my network. Device name, Raspberry_Pi_, 0 connection type, Ethernet, hardwired. Port 4. My blood ran cold. My router only had 4 ports. Port 1 was my computer. Port 2 was my VoIP phone. Port 3 was empty. Port 4 was the jack in the wall, the one that led into the maintenance closet behind my desk, a small, cramped space where the building's fiber optic cables came in. A space I never opened. A space that was currently located directly behind my back, separated only by a layer of drywall. The voice on the speaker spoke again. It wasn't synthesized this time. It was a recording of my voice, captured by the microphone earlier that night. "Who is this?" my recorded voice asked. Then a new sound came. Not from the speaker, not from the computer. It came from the wall behind me. A low, rasping laugh, dry and dusty. He wasn't hacking me from the internet. He wasn't outside. He was plugged directly into my router. He was inside the maintenance crawl space. He had been there for hours, maybe days, listening to me breathe, watching me through the vents, controlling my life with a few lines of code. I didn't think. I didn't calculate. Pure animal instinct took over. I grabbed the heavy flashlight and swung it backward with every ounce of strength I possessed, smashing it into the drywall. The plaster crumbled. Through the hole, I saw a pair of eyes. Wide, unblinking, bloodshot eyes reflecting the light of my monitor. A face, pale and gaunt, coated in gray dust, was pressed right against the other side of the wall. He smiled, revealing teeth that were filed into sharp points. "Found you," he whispered. I screamed. I bolted for the door. I didn't care about the smart lock. I didn't care about the jammer. I threw my shoulder into the door, hearing the mechanism snap, and tumbled out into the hallway. I ran. I ran up the stairs, out of the building, and into the middle of the street, screaming for help until a passing patrol car slammed on its brakes. They arrested him. His name was Arthur Penelagon. He was a former network engineer for the very company I worked for. He had been fired 6 months ago for stalking female customers through their security cameras. When they searched the crawl space behind my apartment, they found his nest. He had a sleeping bag, empty bottles of water, and a direct hardline tap into the building's internet backbone. But the most disturbing thing wasn't the tech. It was the notebook they found. It was filled with timestamps and observations. Subject sleeps at 7 a.m. Subject showers at 4 p.m. Subject forgets to lock the window. And on the last page, written in shaky, frantic handwriting, subject is boring. Time to play. I moved out the next day. I broke my lease, left my furniture, left my deposit. I live in a cabin now. I have a wood stove. I have a landline. I use physical keys made of brass. I don't have Wi-Fi, because I learned the hard way that when you make your home smart, you are just teaching it how to hurt you. And you never know who is holding the remote control. And that's all for tonight. Remember, the most terrifying monsters are the ones that look just like us. The ones who might even live right next door. If these stories serve as a good reminder to trust your instincts, then show your support and like and subscribe. Hitting that bell means you'll get a warning before the next nightmare begins. Sleep well, if you can.